Hey guys, it's the Drabble Geek here, and welcome back to Ace Attorney, where we are in the last section of investigation. And first, we need to figure out what these real Psylocks are doing covering the intern cavern. I have no clue actually. And I'm actually also not sure if I noticed this before, but it probably might be me, but there looks to be like a Magatama here as well. I'm not. I might just be saying things, but that's what it looks like to me. But let's get going. Right? Is this what Godot was talking about? Yeah, the trick locks. Now then, Iris, please remove these at once. Mr. Edgeworth, I'm afraid I can't. It's not possible for me. What? During the earthquake, when the cavern was in danger of caving in, Iris escaped. And I know there was only one lock when I last came here. So you're saying that you can undo these new locks? Yes. If only I was stronger. Edgeworth, how are you feeling? You look a little pale in the face. Like you want to talk with your face all green. Miles Edgeworth, go and get some air. I'll watch over the suspect. You go and get a grip on yourself. Don't be ridiculous. I'm perfectly fine. There's no telling what sort of mistakes you could make in your current state. Go and get some rest. That's your only concern, Miles Edgeworth. Oh, she's being a concerning big sister even though she's younger. Understood. I'll hand the investigation in the garden. You take care of things here. As he walks away all mad. Edgeworth. He's got so much pride that he's probably off crying in the corner of the garden. Pride is simply another trap that hinders us in our lives. That said, one must have pride to be effective on the job. At any rate, it seems that this is where we part ways, Phoenix Wright. I'm going to stay here and see if I can't help solve these bothersome puzzles. I see. Well, thanks for your help. Now then, do you mind if I ask you a few things, Iris? No, not at all. Are we going to ask these here while Francesca's busy? You might distract her. Why did you make a run for it, Iris? I'm sorry. I heard the inner temple had been severely shaken by the strong earthquake we had. I was so worried, I just had to come and see. In other words, you didn't run away to escape the law. At least we're clear on that. I can't tell you how relieved I was when I saw the secret cavern was alright, but... But what? Then I saw these chains here. I saw all these extra locks that someone had put on the sacred cavern door, and... Who in the world would do something like this? These trick locks are a sacred treasure of the Quran tradition. There are hundreds of ways to set them. That's why only the person who set the lock can open it. And you aren't the one who set these locks? I don't think it's that simple, Francesca von Karma. When we were here the first time, there was only one lock. But now, somehow, there's 5 of them. What does that mean? It means that someone wanted to secure the place even more. And they wanted to secure it before you got here, Iris. Presumably because they wanted to make sure Maya couldn't get out. This means that Iris can only open one of these locks. The first one. Yes, that's correct. What? Iris, try to think, please. Isn't there any way around this? Well, like I said, there are hundreds of different ways to set these locks. Suppose if we went through every combination with each one, I could remove them. But it will take time, won't it? Yes, about a day if I had to guess. A whole day. Well, that's better than leaving the locks in place. Will you do this for us? Sure, I'll do whatever I can. You've got to wait another day? Hang in there, Maya. You're going to have to call in your inner strength now. You know what, Iris? There's still one thing I don't quite get. And what might that be, Phoenix, right? I think it's obvious. Iris, on the night of the murder, where were you? Please, Iris, don't give me that look. You told us that you were in your room at Hazakura Temple at the time of the incident. But you were seen that same evening at the inner temple. And then, you were spotted at the scene of the crime in Hazakura Temple too. Being spotted at both Hazakura Temple and the inner temple, it's as if you were... Well, Iris, I think it's about time you told us the truth. Okay, there's what, 3? Okay, oop. I knew it. There's something going on here that we don't know about. I have no clue what she could possibly talk about, so I'm gonna get this started so I can try and see where these questions are headed. Let's see, I think it's time you told the truth about what you were doing on that night. Yeah, you said you were in your room at Hazakura Temple the entire time. Do you still claim that to be the truth? Yes, that's where I was. Iris, I believe you're innocent. That's why I want to believe that you're telling me too. But I can't, because this person saw you somewhere else on the night of the murder. That would be Bikini. I'm talking about Sister Bikini, of course. Sister Bikini. Her testimony in court today was very clear. That night I was helping an acolyte with her training in the inner temple, but... Well, as you can see, my back stacked up, violently. So I left Iris to help the acolyte, and returned to Hazakura Temple. Sister Bikini didn't just see you, she spoke with you. You two talked about Maya's training that night. So you see, Iris, you were there at the inner temple on the night of the murder. That's very impressive, Mr. Wright. The acolyte's actual training was due to start after 10 o'clock that night. I left the main hall early, so I wouldn't be late. What time was that? Let me see. It takes about 20 minutes to walk between the main hall and the inner temple, so I would have left about 9:40, I think. I'm sorry, Iris, but lying doesn't suit you. Huh? Now, you say you left the main hall at 9:40, but what you say doesn't add up with this. 9:40. Well, if she left at 9:40 and takes 20 minutes there, then how did she ring the bell? You yourself testified to the contrary, don't you remember? You said you rang the lights out bell at 10 o'clock that night. Ah. Plus, only moments before you rang that bell, you were seen at the main hall by the most reliable witness I have. Myself. Who's that? Me. Mr. Wright. We even spoke a little that evening. That's when you gave me this. Surely you haven't forgotten. No, that's right. I remember. And that brings us to another puzzling fact, Iris. At 10 o'clock on the night of the murder, you were seen in 2 different places at the same time. It's time you told me exactly what's been going on, Iris. So far, I've managed to prove 2 things. First, on the night of the incident, you were at the inner temple. And second, at the exact same time, you were ringing the bell at Hazakura Temple. There's only one possible explanation for this apparent impossibility. There were 2 of you. That's what I've been thinking this entire time. On the night of the incident, you were seen in 2 different places at the same time, which means there must have been 2 of you. I can't think of any other explanation, Iris. But that's crazy. How could that be? There's only 1 of me. It's impossible. Impossible? I wonder. The way you're trembling certainly seems to suggest otherwise. You're seriously trying to suggest there's more than one of me? Then show me evidence. Show me something that proves there's more than one of me. I have no clue what that evidence might be. I don't think I have that information. I don't think I have enough evidence yet. I should investigate and gather some more clues before I try again. Yeah. Let's go to the garden and see if Edgar's still there. Now I have to figure out that there's two of her. Maybe Edgeworth would have found something. I know he was trying to look more into her because she looked familiar. The cops are still combing the place. I look pretty nervous. I'd be nervous too. It's gotta be a tough job. Especially with someone giving you the evil eye the whole time. How could I have done that? Wow, I can't believe it's still bothering him. Edgeworth? Ah. Hey, don't you dare run away. What do you want, right? What do I want? If you came here to laugh at me, then get on with it. Go on, laugh away. I was ready to hug it out with him, but still the same prideful Edgeworth. You went back to the criminal affairs department, right? You said you wanted to look into something concerning Iris. Yes? And thanks to what I found, I was reminded of something terrible. What is this something terrible? You guys are putting a lot of effort into the investigation of the garden here, huh? There's a high chance this is the actual scene of the crime. That's why. You mean because of the writing in blood and the talisman in the snow? Exactly. As you know, those things couldn't have been planted here after the murder. But surely, you don't suspect Maya, do you? You have to treat everyone as a suspect. Maya as well as Iris. It's their job, right? He has a point. Earthquakes. So, I guess you still haven't gotten over your fear of earthquakes. No, thankfully, my nightmares have stopped. But still, if the ground gives even the slightest tremor, I find myself short of breath. 17 years ago, when we were little school kids at the same elementary school, Edgeworth found himself in the middle of a murder. It all started with that big quake that hit the courthouse. Yes, I was stuck in the elevator with my father, who was a defense attorney. Is he joining in and telling us that story? We were deprived of oxygen and we passed out. That's when it happened. That single gunshot shattered my whole world. I lost everything that day, all because of that earthquake. My dreams, my family, and myself. It's been more than 17 years now, and that case was finally resolved 2 years ago, right? You think I don't know that? I was there, but I was such a shock. I never imagined I could be so wrong about myself and my life. I'm sorry, right? There's nothing else I can say. Not after you chose to become a lawyer for my sake, and not after you saved me. Edgeworth, you're stronger than you think, so no more of this self-pity, okay? Okay, let's ask him about Iris. There was something that bothered me about her from the moment we met. I felt like I'd seen her somewhere before. No, wait. Not somewhere. I felt like I'd seen her in court before. So you went back to the criminal affairs department to look at her file? Yes, I checked over every case file I ever worked on. And I was right. I had seen her face before, 6 years ago. 6 years ago. It was my first appearance in court, and as cases go, it was my worst nightmare. So, who is she? I'm sorry, right? I can't give that information away to a member of the general public. What? Why not? It might be a crucial piece of this puzzle that solves this case. The woman I knew was the daughter of a jewelry store owner. She had nothing to do with Iris and Hazakura Temple. Neither did the case. No, that woman is completely unrelated to this murder. Unrelated? Yes, I can say that with complete confidence. You're wrong, Edgeworth. She's totally related to this case. I need to fill Edgeworth in. I need to explain the connection between Iris and the woman Edgeworth knew. I probably need to present him with something, but what? I think we need to go somewhere else. Figure something there. Finally getting to the bottom of this case. I can count on Iris to break this lock, so I should try to gather more clues. From Sister Bikini, Edgeworth, Gumshoe, and Pearls. Alright, let's go to the suspension bridge. It's weird that there's no one around all of a sudden. It sure gets quiet up here in the mountains when you're all on your own. Speaking of alone, I guess I should check out the shack just down this path. Maybe I'll find Larry there sulking again. We do need to talk to him a bit more. So let's go to the Heavenly Hall. Oh, Mr. Nick. Pearls, what are you doing here? Nothing. What about Miss Maya? Is she alright? Well, we don't know yet. Oh, I see. Hey, what do you think you're doing here, Nick? Larry? This is the loser's shack, where losers get together and lose themselves. This is the what? Hey, we find comfort in each other's failures, okay? You got a problem with that? Look, Mr. Nick, Mr. Reese did a picture of me. Not some great pearls. We're going to gather firewood now. We'll be cooking some half-rotten potatoes over a miserable little campfire. So stay out of our way. I don't believe this. Why can't he be getting fired up over becoming a better man? No one believes a word I say anymore. Listen to me, Pearl. You don't want to trust this kind of guy, okay? He'll only let you down. Oh, Mystic Maya. I definitely want to hear more from Pearls. Larry, is there something you want to tell me about this picture? Heh, got nothing to say to you, Nick. My life's here now, with Pearl. Two losers cooking potatoes together forevermore. What am I going to do with him? Alright then. What do you think about this picture, Pearls? I think it's really well drawn. Can't draw at all, so I think it's really amazing. See? Someone appreciates it. It's tough getting the flames to look like that, you know. It's supposed to be Sister Iris flying through the air, isn't it? I love it. It's like a dream. A wonderful fantasy. No, it wasn't a dream. She really flew. I'm telling you, Iris really flew that night. But Mr. Larice... Not you too. Please don't look at me like that, Pearl. Don't look at me like I'm some kind of nutcase. I beg of you. Guess this picture really is a representation of what Larry thinks he saw. Okay, so I was half asleep when I was here that night. But I was wide awake after the lightning struck, and I saw what I saw, and it was exactly like I drew in the picture. And it looks like I don't have any choice but to take the sketch at face value. Hey, what's with the look of doubt on your face? It looks weird. Pearls? Yes, Mr. Nick? I've been meaning to ask you about the night of the murder. Where were you, and what exactly were you doing when it all happened? I was just, well, I'm just a kid, you know. I'm sure it doesn't really matter what I was doing, does it, Mr. Nick? Sorry, Pearls, but yes, it does. On the night of the murder, you were supposed to be with be in Miss Dunham's room, reading a book together. But Miss Dunham was murdered, and you, Pearls, were at the inner temple. Just what exactly happened that night, Pearls? I'm really sorry, Mr. Nick. 3? Whoa. Or 5. I've been a bad girl. That's why I'm being punished. What are you talking about, Pearls? My spiritual power. It has disappeared. What? Her powers have disappeared. Which means that someone could have possessed Pearls. This might be what we're looking for. What do you mean your power has disappeared, Pearls? It's all over for me. Spirit medium who can't channel spirits is like a painter who can't paint. Hey, what are you looking at me for? Pearls? Did you try to channel someone's spirit right here at Hazakura Temple? Tried but failed, perhaps? Oh, she did. Way to go, Nick. You made her cry. That's really cruel of you. Just as I thought. I'm going to have to break her Psylocke to get the truth out of her. Let's go ahead and start trying then. Can't believe Pearls has 5 of them. After dinner on the night of the murder, you were supposed to be in Elise Dunham's room, reading a book together, correct? Yes, I was so happy when she invited me, but I didn't go in the end. You didn't go? No, there was somewhere else I had to go instead. I was so worried I had to go. I didn't know what to do with myself. I was so nervous. So Pearls never went to Miss Dunham's room. Guess she was too worried about something or someone else. Pearls? On the night of the murder, you went to this place, didn't you? She might have found the quote-unquote, note, but I'm not sure. I don't think I have enough evidence yet. I should investigate and gather some more clues before I try. Do I still have the quote-unquote blackmail letter? Wait, no, I think I threw that away. Like an idiot. Let us go to the main hall. I wonder if Sister Bikini is back at the main hall yet. I haven't seen Gumshoe around for a while either. Maybe they're having a cup of tea together somewhere. I bet Gumshoe is Sister Bikini's type. Really, dude? Oh, what's up with Bikini? Well, what's the damage? How's the Sacred Cavern? Looks like it survived, but we have a bigger problem now. I told Sister Bikini all about it. About the 5 locks that were stopping us from getting inside the Sacred Cavern. But who could have done that? The only people who know how to set those trick locks are of those of the Quran tradition. Like Pearl and her aunt. We have Iris at the Sacred Cavern trying her best to open them for us right now. Actually, there's something I've been meaning to talk with you about, Sister Bikini. Oh, yes? We were in the middle of a chat, weren't we? Yes, you were telling me how the Master Quran disappeared 17 years ago. I want to know why Misty Faye suddenly appeared at this temple. It was about a week ago when Mystic Misty arrived. After she showed me the talisman that proved she was the master, she said, "Someone is trying to destroy the Quran tradition's main family line." Pearl's mother? I'm here to put a stop to them. Unless Pearl's mother escaped. Someone was trying to destroy the main family line? There's only one heir to the title of master at any time, and it's usually the eldest. That child becomes the new master of Quran, and her daughters, the main family. All the other mediums become branch family members, with no hope of controlling the clan. That's why nothing has changed throughout the history of the clan. Branch families always have, and always will, plot to erase those of the main family line. Is the power of the Master worth this much bloodshed? Well, we do know somebody. Unfortunately, Pearl is connected to her, which I don't want to believe, but that's where the evidence is leading us. You believe in the technique, don't you, Mr. Wright? You know its power is real. Yes, I do. It's been 2 years since I first met Maya. In that time, I've seen her channel the spirits of the dead plenty of times. During the mask-to-mask case. During Maggie Bird's trial, too. Thanks to Maya, Mia is always on hand to help me out when I need her the most. The Quran technique has made a huge difference to the world, you know. I mean, the ability to communicate with the dead, that's true psychic power, you know. Members of the tradition have always been there, behind every important leader. Who wouldn't respect such a tremendous skill? I suppose so, but with all that power and influence, I kind of expected you to be really rich by now. Are you saying we're poor, Mr. Wright? Oh, you're very direct, aren't you? People don't believe in it anymore. You see? All because of one little mistake. A mistake? What mistake? It was 17 years ago. The DL6 incident. That's when everything came crashing down. All because of that incident. That incident? Is she talking about what I think she is? I'm sure the record still exists if you're interested. Locked up, of course. It was called the DL6 incident. That's the name of the file. DL6 incident. I knew it. I probably have to go to the criminal affairs then to get the case file and hopefully read it. If Von Karma didn't destroy it. The DL6 incident. I know it well. I handled a related case just 2 years ago. Ah, that's right. So it was you who was the defense attorney on that case. A murder that took place 17 years ago. It was the first time in the country's history the police ever used a spirit medium. The deal was to channel the victim's spirit to learn the identity of the murderer. The medium who formed the channeling was Misty Faye, Maya's mother. Through Mystic Faye's channeling, the name of a certain man surfaced. Armed with that as evidence, the investigators were spurred into action. But that man, he was found not guilty, wasn't he? That's right, he was, and the case remained a mystery. In other words, we failed. It was the first case the world had ever seen the Quran tradition openly involved in. It was all over the media, the public, the judiciary, the people Quran village. Everyone judged her. Everyone said Misty's powers were a sham. And then she just disappeared, vanished, while everyone else still thought of her as a fraud. But I know the truth. Misty Faye's spirit channeling wasn't a sham at all. Of course it wasn't. And since she managed to reveal the truth, we're finally making a comeback. The Quran tradition is starting to recover at last. But with the new master wielding the power of the clan... Does she mean Maya? I mean, Misty is dead now. The spiritual power of the Quran channeling technique is in the blood. Maya's told me the exact same thing before. We, the women of the Fae clan, have always been spirit mediums. It's because the power to communicate with spirits flows strongly through us. According to Maya, only the women in the family can inherit that power. It's found on the X chromosome, the double X chromosome to be exact. The main family's bloodline stems directly from Mystic Ami. But with each new generation, only one daughter becomes the new master. And the ones who don't become branch families, right? That's right, and it's always the cause of tragedy. You know, Maya had a sister too, an older sister named Mia. Oh yes, I've heard of her. What? You know about Mia? Of course. She became a lawyer in hopes of discovering what happened to her mother, and lost her life as a result. Do you know what Mystic Mia is rumored to have said? She said it wasn't only because of her mother that she became a lawyer. She also didn't want to fight with her sister over the leadership of the tradition. Really? Well, she saw what happened to her own mother, Mystic Misty, as she grew up. Guess Mystic Mia got tired of seeing all the rivalry between her mom and her aunt. That's right, Mystic Faye had an elder sister too. And Misty, having superior powers, managed to usurp the master seat from her. Misty's sister is Mystic Morgan, as you probably know. Morgan? There is a name I know well. It was a year ago now, at Maya's home, Kron Village. What she did was terrible. It was all so she could make her own daughter the next master. I suppose if you know about Mystic Morgan's daughter, then you must already realize that Iris... Huh? Iris? What's Iris got to do with any of this? That Iris is Mystic Morgan's daughter. No, it's Pearl. Iris is what? Is she kidding me? Iris is Morgan Faye's daughter? I was going with Pearls this entire time. Did you just say that Iris is Morgan Faye's daughter? Oops, I thought you already knew. It sounded like you met one of Mystic Morgan's daughters already. I have. I know her very well. Oh? Yes, Pearls. Pearl Faye. But I always thought she was an only child. You jest. That child? She's Mystic Morgan's? I had no idea. Mystic Morgan. But she's in prison now, isn't she? Yes, ever since she was found to be a co-conspirator in a murder case last year. It was all done to set Pearls up as the next master. Does that mean Iris doesn't have powers? I see. So I've been wrong all this time. Mystic Morgan had 3 daughters, not 2. Wait, what? 3? Yes, Iris, her twin sister, and Mystic Pearl. What? Twin sister. Oh, didn't you know? It all happened 20 years ago. After the clan leadership was taken from her by her sister, Mystic Morgan's life crumbled. It wasn't many years later that Karan's reputation hit an all-time low. Mystic Morgan's husband realized his wife would never become the master. He left her in the village, taking their twin daughters with him. Wait, then who's Pearl's father? How awful. He was a jeweler, you know. And in the end, he were married, and that's when it happened. He decided to give one of his girls up, to be looked after by us here at the temple. That was Iris, you see. It's unbelievable. If Iris has a twin sister, that's how she was seen in 2 places at once. Could it be? Could you tell me one more thing, Sister Bikini? What was the name of Iris's sister? Was it Delilah? I'm sorry, Mr. Wright. I just can't remember. All I recall is that her father was a jeweler. Well, that's a clue, I guess. A jeweler. Thank you very much. You've helped clear up a lot of details. Pearl's had 2 older sisters, huh? Yes, that's right. I doubt it was all because of Mystic Morgan's anger towards the main family. Anger? What do you mean? Her twin daughters were taken from her by her jeweler husband. But even that couldn't destroy her dream that a child of hers would one day lead the clan. That's why she had Pearls. It seems that the incident here was a result of Mystic Morgan's anger. It was able to break free of the bars that confine her. So Iris has the twin sister. The plot thickens. But this information will be useless unless I can flesh it out a bit. I need to ask more questions and get some more info. I imagine we need to talk to Edgeworth again. Let's see if anyone's back here. Sounds like someone's happy. What tune are they humming? Oh, Gumshoe. No motive, no crime. No motive, no crime. Sing it with me. No motive, no crime. I remember when we used to search in the channeling room in Quran. Ooh, I love my job. Who cares if clues I find are no good? That's not what investigating's all about. The investigator investigates for love investigating. It's a passion. Good cases we have, good cases we've lost along the way. Would have never guessed that Gumshoe was into reggae. Every case is going to be airtight. Every case is going to be airtight. Hey, pal. Huh? Who, me? How long have you been there? I just got here. Oh, okay. So what are you up to, detective? I'm investigating, pal. I made a promise to Mr. Edgeworth. I promised I would find the real murder weapon. The real murder weapon? The barbed sword thing turned out to be a false lead, right? I'm giving it my best shot here, but I still haven't turned up any clues. Well, you're in the wrong place for the murder. I just found these weird scraps of paper. Looks like a letter or something. Doesn't seem to have anything to do with the case, though. A letter? I would like the letter. How about the investigation? How's the investigation going, Detective Gumshoe? I don't know if I should be telling you, pal. But I guess it can't hurt. Looks like the murder took place in the Inner Temple Garden. We figured that. And they're taking that bloody writing on the lantern pretty seriously back at HQ. What? You mean? I don't have the details, pal. All I know is, if you don't find Maya down in that sacred cavern, you're going to be faced with one ugly situation. What kind of ugly situation are we looking at here? You got me. I don't know. They're not my words, pal. Then who said it? Mr. Godot. Godot? What do you mean by that? So the letter. About the letter you found. Don't remind me, pal. I'm busting a gut here trying to find the murder weapon. And all I find is some burnt up old letter. Let's see. Be careful. Once night blank should be sheltered, maybe? As soon as you hear the lights out bell, you must channel her spirit. Leave everything up to her. Interesting. Yeah, it was in that incinerator right outside the Inner Temple. The incinerator? I knew it. I knew I wasn't imagining it. There was snow in the incinerator when I first saw it. But after the incident, the snow had melted away. Which means someone used the incinerator on the night of the murder. What's up with you, pal? I got it right here if you want to take a look. Can I? Do you mind? Sure, go nuts. I don't want it, pal. You can have it. It's all spirit mediums and masters and stuff. I bet it's got no relation to the case. Spirit mediums. It's gotta be important if it mentions spirit mediums and masters. Can I read it closer? Okay. Be careful, once night falls, there should be there. As soon as you hear the lights out bell, you must channel her spirit. Leave everything up to her. Her name is blank. She is our all blank. The whole blank. Here's a picture of her. Use it when you channel her. I know you can do it. Once this is done, burn the blank. Burn the letter. Also make sure, not to tell anyone about this letter. Bravely roast the master in the fires of Hades and bring our vengeance to fruition. That's really weird. Better give it a good look over and some serious thought. Make sure you check it in the trash when you're done. Littering is a crime, pal. A Oh my gosh. Gumshoe is so dumb. Let's go murder weapon. So what do you know about the real murder weapon so far? Well, it wasn't the sword that was found impaled in the victim's body. Mr. Edgeworth proved that in court today. Yes, that's true. In which case, it must have been another blade. And that's what you're running around like a headless chicken looking for now, huh? Yeah, and man, is it tiring work. But let me tell you something, pal. I'm no chicken. We've got the feather of forensics in our cap these days. We're using the department's secret weapon on this. Secret weapon? Is it your, metal detector? What's the secret weapon of yours? You want to know? You gotta think scientifically, okay? Alright. The murder weapon was a sword. Swords are, scientifically speaking, made of metal, right? Any questions so far? No? I know what he's going to say, but I'll let him look smart. So what's the perfect tool for the job? Ta-da! A metal detector. Raise your hand if you didn't see this coming from a mile away. Well, you want to give a scientific investigation a go? Huh? Me? I've been using this thing for hours now. It gets pretty boring after a while. Why don't you give it a try? I don't know. Should I help Detective Gumshoe out or not? Let's play forensics expert. Come on, pal. It's good fun. I'll tell you. Alright then. I guess I'll give it a go. Like I said, this is the department's most advanced gadget. The absolute best. So sensitive, you could make it cry. It's so high-tech, you could skydive off it. Oh, bother. So now I'm going to tell you how to use it. It's possible the real murder weapon is around here somewhere, right? Sure, that's what we're trying to find out. Right, so first let's turn the detector on. That's the sound of the metal detector signal bouncing off of something. Next, move the detector around and give this courtyard a good look-see, pal. Don't worry, this may let you know when you've hit on something metallic. And when that happens, press enter to give the area a good hard stare. This thing picks up metallic objects that are hidden from sight too. Take a good look at anything and everything that seems suspicious. Okay, pal? Well, this is like the one thing I've been questioning this entire time. This looks like a wallet? Aha, that's where it's been. Is it yours, detective? I'm always dropping it, so I put a bell on it. But you still dropped it anyway. Yeah, but now I found it again, pal. Your wallet is completely empty. Well, I drop it all the time, so I don't put money in it anymore. Then how come the metal detector picked it up? Must be because of the bell, I guess. Okay, that's been something I've been questioning this entire time. And also this. Looks like there's something round buried in the ground here. Don't touch that, pal. Huh? What is it? It's a trap. People set them up to catch us detectives. They're real nasty. A trap? For detectives? You mean like those fierce traps with sharp teeth that are supposed to snag your leg? Yeah, those. Got my finger caught in one of those once. Your finger? There was a bit of cheese, and it looked so tasty. I reached out and then, bam. I'm not sure I know how to respond to a story as stupidly pitiful as that. So... Okay, so I can't... Okay, so that's it, I suppose. Doesn't look like there's anything here. Hey pal, all you gotta do is watch the detector and let it tell you what's where, okay? Alright. Yeah, I guess it didn't. Probably that sword next to the golden statue isn't the real murder weapon, pal. Yeah, I know. I just thought I'd check it in again anyway. Oh yeah, that reminds me. Do you know about that sword? It's supposed to represent the multiple branches that life can take, all ending as one. Yes, I heard something about that. You know what I think about sometimes? What kind of life I'd be leading had I not joined the homicide division. You think about that kind of stuff, detective? Of course I do. I think about it a lot. Me as a traffic cop, me as a detention officer, me as the Blue Badger. There's something to be said about the humor value of Gumshoe as the Blue Badger. Right. Yeah, I can't believe that was just a wallet. And this is ladder. Look, a ladder. That's a step ladder. What's the difference? Looks like a normal ladder to me, pal. Surely everyone knows the difference. I mean, they're pretty ordinary objects. There aren't plenty of guys like you, always picking on the smallest details. The vegetable store guy near my place does it all the time. He even corrects me when I ask for a head of lettuce. That's a cabbage, he says. I'm telling you, they're the exact same thing. No, they're not. They're completely different. You have to plant both of them firmly in the ground before they can grow, don't you? Listen, you gotta take a step back and look at the bigger picture sometimes. Otherwise, you could miss a really important clue. That's advice from a pro, pal. The last person I need advice from is the guy in front of me. Ooh, achievement unlocks. Ladders versus step ladders. I think that's because I've listened to like all the ladder versus step ladder ladder versus step ladder conversations, I think. I'll have to check it again. This must be an old panhandle or something. How do you know that? What? That was my nickname in junior high. What? Panhandle? I didn't have much money back then, pal. I used to bum stuff off the other kids sometimes, so they called me Panhandler. Panhandler, huh? I can see that. Thinking back, it's actually kind of a nice memory now. That's nice. It's just a pair of skis, nothing useful for a case. I'm actually pretty good on skis, you know, pal. I just love to fly down the slopes with my coat fluttering in the wind. Really? I had no idea. How good are you then? Well, I'm better on skis than I'm on skates. But not as good as when I'm on a snowboard. That's a pretty detailed answer. Oh, but you know what I'm best at? Making mashed potatoes and gravy. The guy's losing it. Must be the altitude. We better get back to the investigation. More skis, nothing useful. Yeah, we just went over that. Okay, this is more ski stuff. And this. Nope. Nope. That's next to the golden power. Yeah, we talked about this. Can I not exit out of this until I find everything? I suppose not. What's this? A pen? Hey, I've been looking all over for that, pal. Huh? It's yours. Yeah, my old man gave it to me when I qualified as a detective. He told me to be good for sticking in suspects' faces. That makes you detective sound really nasty. It's my dream to stick it in your face one day, right? And don't go losing it. That's odd. The slet's made of plastic. It says bikini number 1 on the side. Maybe there's something under it. Hey, what's this? A badge. Aha, I've been hunting high and low for that. It's yours, detective? That thing's priceless to a guy like me. A cop can't be a cop without his badge. I'm sure glad I put that diamond there now. How did you manage to drop your badge here? of all places. I know, I bet it happened this morning. I was playing around with the sled and... Stop right there. I don't need to hear anymore. Yeah, I really don't. There's the skis, the wallet, the sword. This was Miss Dunham's staff, isn't it? Scientifically speaking, they're usually made of wood. The detector is reacting to it. Yeah, but however you look at it, the thing's made of wood, alright? I don't bother investigating unless it looks like it might be metallic. Isn't that the whole point of the metal detector, to find metal where you can't see it? It's weird that thing is causing a racket. Here, let me take a look at it. Hey, hands off. Examining evidence is a job for the... crack. Ah, the top is coming off. Look what you've done. You damaged a really important piece of evidence. Ah. Ooh. Is that like a... that's a sword inside the staff. Is this... could it be? The murder weapon. I never have guessed there to be a sword concealed in the victim's staff. They call this kind of thing a sword cane, pal. This one's a real gem. The workmanship is really something else. Thank goodness it wasn't a cane sword, or else the victim would have stabbed her own foot. I officially give up on trying to figure out how Gumshoe's mind works. If the real scene of the crime was the inner temple garden, then why was the sword used to kill the victim found in the main hall courtyard? My thoughts exactly. Hey Gumshoe, who knows about the hidden sword? No one. Even the police didn't know about it until I discovered it just now. Well, as they say, there's no team in Gumshoe. Doesn't look like there are any traces of blood on it. Then I guess it isn't the murder weapon, huh? No. I'm sure someone just wiped it off after the murder. Yeah, of course. This thing's definitely the murder weapon. Great job, pal. It's about the same length as the long sword, too. This must be the murder weapon. Okay, I'm gonna run over to forensics. There's gotta be some traces of blood left, even if most of it has been wiped off. See you later, pal. Take your wallet. Every case is going to be airtight. Every case is going to be airtight. Wait up, detective. Huh? What is it, pal? I'm pretty busy guy right now, you know. You're going to get that stuff analyzed, right? Would you mind holding off just a while? Huh? What are you talking about, pal? Please? Just until we find Maya. Maya? What's this got to do with her? I don't know, but I'm starting to get a real bad feeling in the pit of my stomach. Oh, how so? Look, Maya's trapped inside the secret cavern right now, and, well, we don't even know if she's okay or not. The more evidence and testimony here, the more uneasy I feel. You don't think Maya's been... Please, detective, let's just wait until we can get inside the sacred cavern. You're looking kind of iridian there. Okay, just stop it with that face, pal. One thing, though. The staff's secret trick. Let's keep it between you and me, alright? If it gets out that we knew about it and didn't say anything, we're finished. I understand. This is just a regular, run-of-the-mill staff. You got it? Okay, now take good care of it, pal. Thank you, detective. Don't worry. She'll be fine. Gumshoe? You know, there's a place at the base of this mountain that has some really good pasta. How would I take you there when you find Maya? Huh, pal? Sure, thanks. You have no money in your wallet, though. I can't help but wonder, though. What was Elise Dunham doing with a staff like this in the first place? To protect herself? Alright, let's go back to, Edgeworth. So we can be like, hey, Iris has a twin sister. Suspension bridge. Inner temple. And the garden. Let's present the fact that we know she has a twin. Hey, Edgeworth, did you know that Iris had a twin sister? What? A twin? You can't be serious. Sister Bikini told me, but the problem is she didn't know the name of this twin. There was nothing about Iris having a sister in the files I checked. Well, Iris was taken in by the temple when she was really young. Apparently her sister was raised by her father, a jeweler, I think. A jeweler? Right eye. You just might know who this twin sister of hers is. I had a feeling you'd say that. Let me guess. Her name is Delilah Hawthorne, right? Yes, exactly. Please tell me what you know about her, Edgeworth. Please. Let's talk about Delilah. It was my first court case, 6 years ago. I was a greenhorn, and due to my inexperience, the defendant died. You're talking about Terry Flaws, right? You know about that case? You're not the only one who noticed something about Iris and Delilah Hawthorne. I checked one of Mia's old files from 6 years ago. Yes, Delilah was a key witness in that case. Delilah and Terry Flaws conspired together to stage a fake kidnapping 11 years ago. They stole a jewel worth $2 million from Delilah's father, a jeweler. And 5 years after that, she murdered her own sister, Valerie Hawthorne, to keep her from talking. Her sister? Well, her stepsister, actually. They weren't blood related. Valerie was the only daughter of Delilah's father's second life. Oh. And this is when she entered my life. The woman who tried to kill me. So after Terry Flaws died, what happened to Delilah? Did you check that out? Does it really matter? Like I said, Delilah isn't connected with this case. Why are you so sure about that? It's simple. Delilah Hawthorne is dead, which means someone could have channeled her. What? Well, her metabolic processes are a matter of interest only to historians, so to speak. What do you mean by Delilah Hawthorne is dead, Edgeworth? Right, I must confess that in reading her file, I came to know the murder case you were involved in during your college years. Delilah Hawthorne was found guilty, thanks to the persistence of Mia Fey. Mia Fey. Oh yeah, I remember her looking all evil like that. At the time, Delilah looks like she was possessed by a demon or something. It's been almost 5 years since that guilty verdict was handed down, and her sentence was finally carried out. She was executed last month. Executed? I'm sure that's a bit of a shock for you, right? And for more reasons than one. But do you understand now? She can't possibly be connected with this case. She's dead, and once someone is dead, there is no way to revive them. There's no way to revive the dead. I wonder. Seems you're not aware of the other connection yet, Edgeworth. And what is that? It's about Iris and Delilah Hawthorne's mother. What's their mother got to do with any of this? She's Morgan Fey, a spirit medium from a branch family to Quran channeling technique. Did you say Quran channeling technique? Do you know something about it? Oh, yes. I know it's connected with that fraudulent spirit medium. Fraudulent? I was involved in another nightmare 17 years ago. I was caught up in the middle of a murder investigation. The police didn't have any leads. They were stumped, and that's when they called her in. She was a very famous spirit medium and the master of her channeling school. But you know what happened? As a result of her efforts, an innocent man was accused of murder. She and her powers, they were all fraudulent. Edgeworth? Go to the police records room. It's all in there. All you have to do is check the DL6 incident case file and you'll know. Well, I do know. She's dead. Of course. How could I forget? Edgeworth was the victim in that case. Edgeworth, you'll understand someday. And then you'll see the Quran channeling technique is real. Can I present him with the letter, or is that doing too much? What do you think about this? Sorry, right? Your defense attorney or prosecutor can't discuss things. That's fine. Let's go talk to, Iris. And let's question her a bit more. Night of the crime. Told what you were doing. You said you were in your room. Still claim that to be the truth. That's where I was. Can't be because Bikini saw you elsewhere. She said you were there. And, that's impressive. I had to walk 20 minutes. And that doesn't add up because of the testimony you gave. Said at 10. That's when you gave me this. Alright, puzzling plaques, 2 different places. First, you were at the Inner Temple. Second, you were at Hazakura Temple. There's only one possible reason. There were 2 of you. And the night of the incident, you were seen in 2 different places. 2 of you. But that's crazy. How could that be? There's only one of me. It's impossible. I wonder. You're suggesting more than one of me? So this would be, yo, you have a twin sister. I have a firm grasp of the situation now, Iris. You have a sister, don't you? A twin sister, perhaps? That's right. Delilah Hawthorne, a woman I know only too well. I had no idea you knew of her. Very impressive, Mr. Wright. But she's no longer... Yes, I know. Her sentence was carried out recently, wasn't it? I'm sorry. Thank you. There's no need to explain now, is there, Iris? The second you who was at the temple the night of the murder. It was your twin sister, Delilah Hawthorne. But you just said yourself a second ago. My sister's dead. Have you forgotten that? Have you forgotten this, Iris? This is the channeling dojo, the channeling ground of the Quran channeling technique. That night, someone channeled Delilah's spirit, and you knew about it. And that's the secret you've been trying to hide from me. Well, her "you caught me" animation's the exact same as her sister's. I was in my room in the main hall that night. Okay, so this means that Pearl channeled her sister and went to the Inner Temple. As soon as I heard that I'd been spotted at the Inner Temple, I knew it was my sister, Delilah, the other half of me who passed away last month, just as I suspected. The Iris that Sister Bikini saw at the Inner Temple on the night of the murder. It was Delilah Hawthorne. Why didn't you tell me this before? Because my sister always does the right thing. Excuse me? Because I mustn't get in the way of what she's trying to do. I already betrayed her once before. I can't do it again. Are you trying to talk about Pearl? You betrayed her? What do you mean? That's why I have to accept I may be found guilty. It's the only way. What is she talking about? You know about it, don't you, Mr. Wright? About the fake kidnapping that took place here on Eagle Mountain 11 years ago? That was the start of it all. That's what started her down that twisted path. She started to commit crime after crime, and in the end, she lost her life. It's all because I betrayed her. How did you betray her, Iris? It was no coincidence that Eagle Mountain is where the exchange was to take place. After all, I helped plan the whole thing. What? But I got scared, so I ran away. What are you talking about? Why would you help her? Stealing $2 million from your own father? That's awful. But I promised I'd help. And she didn't do it for the money. Huh? It was revenge on our father. Revenge? Oh my gosh, so much is happening. What do you mean by revenge? He was a hideous man. He threw our mother away and then sent her to hell. Her mother? She must be talking about Morgan Fay. Her mother was the eldest daughter of the main branch of the Fay family. The main family had a lot of influence in many business and political circles at the time. As the eldest daughter, our mother was set to inherit all of that as the next master. That's the reason our father married our mother in the first place, for power. But his plan backfired, because her mother's sister took it all from her. She took over as the master of Quran. That would be Misty Fay, Maya's mother. But before long, the credibility of the Quran tradition hit rock bottom. The new master, Mystic Misty Fay, made a terrible mistake. It was during the investigation of the DL6 incident. After that happened, our father took me and my twin sister away, leaving our mother and our home behind. He hated that place. He said it was a hick dive and there was no reason he had to stay there. And that's when you came here to Hazakura Temple? Yes. The woman my father took as his next wife already had a daughter, Valerie. I had no place in this new family, you see. Oh. And I haven't seen my mother once since then. Having the master's seat stolen from her and being rejected by her own family, I've heard she's been very battered, spiritually and emotionally. I think I'm finally beginning to see how the pieces fit together. I have asked her everything I can in my capacity as a prosecutor. This incident, everything related to it goes back to the history of the Fay clan. That's what it looks like. Iris, there's just one more thing I want you to tell me. What is it? During the incident in which your sister, Delilah Hawthorne, poisoned a lawyer, she began a relationship with a certain college student in order to hide the evidence. That college student, have you heard anything about him? Well, I did hear one thing. She says she hated his guts. I see. Thank you for your help. You're welcome. Hurry up, Phoenix Wright. There's still much to investigate. Leave these locks to me. I'll open them for you, I promise. Thank you. Suppose I better continue my investigation. There's still one giant secret left to unlock. Pearl Psylocks. Alright, let's go talk to Pearl. She's at Heavenly Hall. Oh, or not anymore. Look at that. They really did make a fire right in front of the shack. Oh, Mr. Nick. Ha, you're too late, Nick. You came here for one of our potatoes. We've already polished them all off. I think I pretty much got all the evidence I need. Now I just need to find out what Pearls is hiding. Yep. Let's do this, Pearls. Time to dance. The night of the crime. After dinner on the night of the murder, we were supposed to be in Elise Dunham's room, reading a book together, correct? Yes, I was so happy when she invited me. Didn't go. No, I had to go somewhere else instead. Had to go. I'm so nervous. Pearls. On the night of the murder, you went to this place, didn't you? She had to have gone to the inner temple. That's the only thing that makes sense. You went here, didn't you, Pearls? Looks like she's still not going to open up to me. This is where you went because you were so worried, right? Then the next question is, who or what were you so worried about? Now, I'm going to take a guess and you can tell me if I'm right or wrong, okay? You mean you know? If I'm right, you will tell me the whole truth. Okay. You went to this place for one very simple reason, and that is this. The burnt letter. Well, Pearls, this is what you were worrying about, right? There's something I'm worrying about right now, actually. What's that? You, Mr. Nick. Your face has turned a really strange color. Huh? You should work so hard, you know. You need to take a break once in a while. But there is only one thing. I'll go get some bed sheets. No, it's okay. Pearls never went. Okay. Then she went here because of Maya? The one here... profiles. You went because of Maya. It's obvious that you were so worried about Pearls. It was Maya, wasn't it? Ah. You knew that training Maya was undertaking was dangerous. After all, it was a special course. I signed up for your special course. Well, my. Quite brave of you considering how cold it is. Young people can be so reckless with their health. Don't blame me if you come with one of those you channel. Sister Bikini scared you with what she said, didn't she? And because it was you who introduced Hazakura Temple to Maya in the first place, you felt responsible, didn't you? Thinking about what could have happened to Mystic Maya made me worried, more and more worried. Couldn't sit still at all. That's why I decided to go and find out how she was doing at the Inner Temple. Then we're clear now that you went to the Inner Temple that night, Pearls. What's not clear is what happened after that. About what time was it when you headed over to the Inner Temple? Probably around 9:30 when I left the main hall. I heard the real training was supposed to start at 10. I wanted to get there before it started, but there's so much snow, so I didn't get there until after 10 o'clock. Till after 10. How did you know what time it was? Because I heard the bell ringing for lights out. She heard the lights out bell. The Hazakura Temple bell is pretty small though, isn't it? Must have really good hearing. I was really trying to pick up the sound of that bell, that's all. I didn't want to miss it. That would be terrible. Just trying to hear the bell. Tell me, Pearls. Why were you so worried about hearing that bell? Huh? Oh, I think I know why. The reason you were so worried about the bell is because of this. It was the letter, right? As soon as you hear the lights up bell, yeah. Now it's this. You were given some instructions to follow that night, weren't you? I presume you recognize these pieces of paper. Where did you? In the incinerator at the Inner Temple. Pearls? You were following the instructions in this letter that night, weren't you? That's why you couldn't afford to miss the sound of the lights out bell. I'm speechless, Sister Nick. You're amazing. Can you break more than one of those? Use instructions that were found in the incinerator. I believe they were written for you, Pearls. For me, no. As you can see, a large portion has been burnt. The last section is still fairly legible. As soon as you hear the lights out bell, you must channel her spirit. Who was it, Pearls? Whose spirit were you supposed to be channeling? Taking into account the author of the note and their purpose for writing it, whose spirit would Pearls been trying to channel? Delilah's. Don't overthink it, Phoenix. It's pretty obvious who Pearls was supposed to channel. The person who you were trying to channel that night, Pearls, was Delilah. It was Delilah Hawthorne, wasn't it? That's the name that was in the letter. It's just as I suspected. It wasn't Iris who sussed her bikini men in the inner temple that night. It was Delilah Hawthorne. Do you know anything about her, Pearls? Do you know what kind of woman Delilah Hawthorne was? No. Never heard of anyone by that name before reading those instructions. I thought so. Pearls doesn't have a clue. She doesn't know that Delilah is her sister. About the instructions in the letter I found, Pearls. Who wrote them? Whoever it was asked you to channel the spirit of someone you never heard of. You must have quite a lot of respect for them. After all, you followed their instructions without question. So here's my next question. Who wrote the set of instructions for you to follow? Imagine her mother. Pearls? I have to wonder about something. You didn't have any idea what these instructions meant, did you? But you followed them to the letter regardless. Why? Because it was your own mother who asked you? That's why. How did you... I figured it out. The person who wrote you this letter was your own mother, Morgan Fay. Is the last one going to break? Alright, Pearls, it's time for you to start telling me the truth. Mr. Nick, Why is she holding back from me? I don't like this. Don't underestimate me, just because I'm a child. Huh? You're trying to say I follow these instructions. I'd like to see some proof. What? Because I don't think you have any. To say anything rather than admit to carrying out those instructions. I also have to produce some more evidence then. One more thing should do it. Alright, Pearls. We both know someone carried out these instructions on the night of the murder. But you're right, there's no evidence that proves it was you. I knew it. However, I do know that whoever did it was a child. Huh? How do you know that? Couldn't have been an adult. An adult would have made a simple No adult would have made a simple mistake like that. A simple mistake? What do you mean by that? I'm sure you thought you were carefully following the instructions you'd been given, but you misunderstood some words, and this is the evidence that proves that. Wait. Let me reread that letter. Be careful. Leave everything up to her. She is all our... Use it when you channel. I know you can do it. Once this... Gravely roast the master in the fires of Hades. Is it the fact that it means she burnt the words instead of bravely roast the master. Bring... Yeah, she wasn't meaning literally burn the body, I think. This shows the mistake you made. I mean, does it mean literally? The words. Or are we talking about the Master Talisman? spirit, leave everything up to her. Use it when you channel her. Bravely roast the master on the fire. The only thing I can think of is the talisman at this point. No. What? I have not saved in a very long time, so I'm not even going to try and let's see. Oh, okay, I get it. Burst and Reddit was a child. Okay, so the part about it is gravely roast. She thought it was gravy, which, as we know, only happened in one place. The gravy. It was you who splattered gravy on this hanging scroll, wasn't it? What? Why would I do something like that? Do you remember what was written in that letter? Gravely roast the master in the fires of Hades and bring our vengeance to fruition. But you didn't know how to read the words gravely and roast among others, right? How do you know that? Remember the conversation you had with Miss Stunham on the night of the murder? I didn't. Perhaps we can read some books together. Really? I'd love to. I'm not very good at reading. Well then, would you like to practice reading with me? Miss Elise, for example, how do you read this? It says gravely. That's kind of a tough word. Oh, I did not remember that at all. Sure, Miss Stunham taught you how to read gravely and roast. But she didn't teach you, is what they meant. Gravely sounded like gravy to me, and the only roast I could think of was the food. And that's why you did it. That's why you covered the picture of the master in gravy from the night's pot roast. To be honest, I didn't think it was a bit strange. I guess I really did get the wrong idea. Just a tiny bit. I really am useless. No, you're not. I couldn't even burn the letter properly as my mother asked of me. Such a simple thing. I couldn't even do it right. Yeah, I got most of that back. That's great. But yeah, it would have taken me a long while to really get that, so I'm gonna count that as a win. But let's talk about the night of the crime. After dinner that night, I did go to the inner temple with a pot full of leftover gravy. The gravy. I saw the picture on the hanging scroll near the sacred cavern. I was sure it was the Master Quran, like it said in the letter. I see. And then? Well, it was already way past 10 when I got there because of all the snow. So I went to the inner temple guest area. Guest area? Yes, I thought I could wait there until the training was over. Why didn't you just go in the training hall? Because Mystic Maya's main training had already started and I couldn't interrupt it. So I just stayed there where I was and prayed for her to get through it. But then Pearls, did you fall asleep? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I just couldn't help it. Hey, don't worry about it, Pearl. Who cares if you fell asleep? I fell asleep waiting for Iris too. It happens. Anyway, then you found yourself trapped at the inner temple. Yes, when I woke up, it was morning. I tried not to cry, but Dusky Bridge wasn't there anymore and there was no one in the training hall. Thought everyone had left me because I overslept. I threw the letter in the incinerator, then I heated up the leftover gravy and let off some steam by checking the gravy on the scroll while you cried. It must have been pretty scary for you, Pearl. I know what it's like. Nick used sleeping behind when I fell asleep at school too. Don't equate something so trivial with her experience, Larry. Now, what about her lost powers? It was written right in my mom's letter. It said, as soon as you hear the lights out bell, you must channel her spirit. I was on my way over to the inner temple when I heard the bell ring. So you channeled Delilah's Hawthorne's spirit? No. I tried, but I couldn't do it. You couldn't do it. Never failed at channeling someone. This is the first time it happened. I tried and tried and tried and tried. Yesterday, this morning, the whole time, but I just couldn't do it. Maybe because Maya had already channeled her? But don't let it get you down, Pearl. It'll all work out. If you want, I'll come flying through the sky for you. Whoosh, just like that. Since you never managed to channel the spirit, is that why you think your spiritual powers are gone? Yes, I don't know what to do. Isn't there any other explanation for why you couldn't channel a spirit? I suppose there's one other possibility. It's not very likely, though. Could you please tell me what it is anyway? Could happen if someone else was already channeling the same spirit. Someone else? What do you mean? Well, there's only one of each spirit, right? Yep, it's like dating a girl, Nick. Can't see a hot chick if she's already taken. Thanks, Larry. And that would mean on the night of the murder, someone else channeled her spirit before Pearls could. Someone else channeled the spirit of Delilah Hawthorne. I'm a failure. I couldn't even grant my mother's final wish. Her final wish? Yes, this letter. This is my last wish, she said. So make sure you follow the instructions carefully. This letter. Definitely need to find out more about it. My mother has gone to a place called a penitentiary. Yeah, I know, Pearls. I visit her every month. And last month she told me, the time we've been waiting for has come, Pearl. There's something I need you to do for me. I hid a letter for you at our home before they brought me here. I want you to read it and do exactly what it says. It's for the good of the Fae clan, my angel. You'll be doing a great thing. Now, listen carefully, and I'll tell you where the letter's hidden. My mother is always nice to me. I love her very much. Yeah, moms will do anything for their kids, right? She said it was for the good of the Fae clan, so I knew I had to help her. I mean, Mystic Maya's part of the Fae clan, so it had to be good for her, too. Oh, you poor child. That's right, isn't it, Mr. Nick? I guess so, yeah. There was a picture with her letter, too. A picture? Of Miss Delilah Hawthorne. Usually a picture is enough to channel someone's spirit, but this time... Pretty weird, huh? Like Larry knows anything about this stuff. There's something else that was strange about my mother's letter. The seal on it was broken, as if someone had already opened it once before. Probably because someone had maybe a bikini? That sure is pretty strange. Someone had opened it already. That's interesting. Thanks, Pearls. You really helped me out. You're very welcome. My mother is watching over us. So I'm sure Mystic Maya will be alright. Look at that innocent smile on her face. What am I supposed to say to her? Your mother is a murderer. Ha. Finally figured it out, have you, Trite? You finally realized how terrible of a crime being painfully oblivious is. Godot. The entrance to the sacred cavern looks like a freaking puzzle workshop. Guess he's talking about Iris and the lock-breaking effort. But it's all a waste of time. Why do you say that? Because Maya Fey isn't coming back. What? You don't know what you're talking about. How can you say something like that? It was your job to protect her, Trite. Just like it was your job to protect Mia Fey. Two sisters caught up in the worst circumstances. I realized that, but... And you were only one who was by their sides. You were the only one who could have saved them. But I didn't know anything about what was going on. Ha. What did I just say, Trite? Being oblivious is a heinous crime in itself. Tomorrow. We'll settle everything in court tomorrow. Once and for all. I'm starting to think that Godot was Mia's old partner, Mr. Nick. Is what that man just said true? We'll be alright, Pearls. I'm sure Maya's alive. You'll see for yourself tomorrow. Yeah, that's right. I know I can trust you, Mr. Nick. Also, the way Pearl said that last thing about her mother, I'm wondering if I was wondering if she was dead or something else. Who knows? My dear Pearl, you've done so well, my child. My Pearl. It's better that you don't know what you've done. I knew this day would come for you. The blood of the main family is no more. Now, finally, after all this time, the master's seat is yours. My last great wish. It seems I was just in time. What, is she about to be executed? Like, that's what I was wondering. Like, she's either already dead or about to be executed. So, at this point... So, like, the thing is, Pearl was needed to kill Misty because of... But, like, my thing is, because Pearls wasn't the one who actually channeled Delilah, I'm just thinking of who else would have had access to that letter. I mean, I'm guessing that Misty would have read it and figured out what was going on. Maybe not immediately, but I don't know. Like, I'm still stuck between... Like, Misty would have had to have known, and then she could have stabbed her own self in order to prevent. But then the flying, it's just... I don't know, but we'll figure it out next time in court, and we'll figure out what Godot is on. My theory is that he was Mia's partner from the previous case we solved, but we'll have to see. But I will see you guys next time. Bye!